Hi everyone, welcome back to the garden. Yes, this is the first video I've actually filmed and put together since the birth of our second daughter Daisy. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you to every single one of you who sent you congratulations, best wishes. It's been a bit of a challenging time to say the least. We pretty much had a full week in hospital after Daisy was born, and then another week where my wife Alice had to go back in, and then I've started back at work this past week, which has certainly been a little bit tough. But anyway, we're all right now. As you can see, the sun is starting to shine. In today's easy, quick little video, I want to just give you a tour of our existing jungle style garden, where I've done absolutely nothing over winter. Protected a couple of plants, that's pretty much been it. So if you want to see the garden at its worst, well today, this video is definitely for you. If you're a fan of weeds, then again, rejoice, you'll see plenty today. If you want to see a more inspirational, complete, fantastic garden, check out my back catalogue of garden tours packed full of spring garden inspiration, loads of ideas in there. But if you just want to catch up, chat, walk around the garden, look at how things are done after winter, as some of my plans for the next couple of months, well, let's get into it. With that being said then, I might as well start at the messiest end of the garden, where there's plenty of spring cleaning and other jobs to be done. This was a raised bed project that I actually built up and planted last spring. Of course, every project looks fantastic when it's done, doesn't it? With fresh compost, crisp edges and beautiful green plants. The battle is having them stay that way, isn't it, year after year? And at this time of year, pretty much any problems show themselves. But I'm pleased to tell you that the palms are looking fantastic. I'm filming this video on the last day in February. That sun just poking through there, but as you'll probably know, this winter has certainly not been like this. It's been an incredibly wet winter. So having a raised bed like this has possibly paid dividends when it comes to some of the more unusual palms that we can grow. This Jubea here, which I grew from seed, is looking green and magnificent, which I'm very pleased to see. The rest of the border will need some spring TLC at some point over the next month or so. So basically the Salvia caridona there, I can chop those back to the ground. But as you can see, that little spider there, this is actually providing home for a lot of different bugs, insects, wildlife at this time of the year. So it's important not to rush into cleaning things up, and I'll definitely be staggering things out here. Well, I've got no choice but to do that. But the main gist I wanted to show you over here is a little bit of tidying up, some combing out of the brown growth from these steeper tenuissima ponytail grasses. This border will be looking back to its best self again very, very soon. The palms, though, really are looking splendid. I'm very pleased about that. The Trachycarpus princeps hybrids here looking, well, as green and beautiful as you'd expect them to look. Very, very nice. And over there, the Nainital, again, very strong grower, very strong green. Pleased to see that. We'll push over here, and you can see down here, the shady side of the garden, my Narcissus actaea coming up for the second year. They tend to be a little bit late compared to some of the early Narcissus, and here in the shade, no doubt pushing back a little bit more. But hopefully they'll grow away again nicely and flower around late March, early April time. This border here, it looks a complete mess. There'll be lots of what we call honesty in today's video, lots of excuses, I'm sure. In the middle, we've got the Aurelia alata variegata, got that from Sunk Island. At the minute, the Devil's Walking Stick is not looking particularly evil, is it? Just a little twig in the ground, but I'm hopeful that that will do big things this year. Really hopeful. There, the Persicaria, which took over a bit. Again, that can be spring cleaned away quite nicely. A lot of the ferns okay, some of them look a little bit ropey, but that's perfectly normal this time of the year. If this video has one effect, I'd like it to be that you can see it's not just your gardens that have got rough plants and things not looking the best, certainly the case here too. And when it comes to this border here, some of the palms, this one here, actually look great. This one, again, is a Princeps new form hybrid, a cross between Trachycarpus fortunei and Princeps, a lovely fast-growing palm, big leaves. But at the back there, that one doesn't look so great. However, the prognosis is good. If you look at the centre, the spear's green, that leaf's green, so hopefully it's going to continue to outgrow that damage. A lot of these hybrid palms might not be 100% hardy if you plant them while small, but if you persist, they will come good. And you can see there, the third one, the trio, that one looks plenty good enough. But this border here, to be honest, the standout star has been this Sarcococca. Now, I'll be honest with you, A lot of you probably expect me to have been outside for most of my paternity leave, which I can assure you definitely wasn't the case. I was getting possibly the least amount of sleep I've ever had in my adult life. Let's just say it was full on and there was no time to be outside whatsoever. But we did, as a family, manage to have about 15-20 minutes outside one sunny day. And the scent of this Sarcococca really was just sensational. Such a beautiful plant. So another reminder that whatever the style of your garden, exotic, tropical, jungle, there's plenty of room for staple seasonal classics and something that delivers scent, some flowers, and a bit of something to look at early in the year is definitely valued. You see over there, the flies visiting that one. I'd prefer to see it be in it, obviously, but a fly will do to show that a lot of these plants which flower out of the season aren't just good for us, they're also good for the wildlife too. And the Mahonias, sweet winters, beautiful. That one there providing a home for some ladybirds in the centre, which will no doubt be beginning to feed and spread around the garden very, very soon. This one here got some of those fruits on it. The Oregon grape, as Mahonia are known. Lovely plants, and one I'll be planting more of throughout the garden. Now this section here, yeah, let's just leave that there. A lot of mess. This is my clutter pile, but in spring, as soon as this ground is dried out, this soil will all be going up the far end of the garden in the new garden project, where I can spread it out quite nicely and it won't just be a huge heap. And then in this spot here, we'll be painting this blockwork wall there, the back of next door's garage, and actually putting in a playhouse for Harriet and her sister Daisy. So that's a bit exciting and maybe something I'll be getting a little bit of a help with to get together, because there's plenty of projects ahead, as you'll see. Here then, another Mahonia. Beautiful things, absolutely love them. And a Hellebore. Definitely want more Hellebores in the garden. This one has just soldiered on really, just cracks on with it year after year. You get these beautiful flowers. I mean, let's face it, if these were a summer flower, everyone would grow them, wouldn't they? The amount of different forms and colours you can get, they really are beautiful plants. Lovely foliage too. So the fact that they actually do this throughout late winter and into early spring really is a marvel, isn't it? Lovely plants. The Borinda papyrifera up there, it's doing all right. To be honest with you, actually, we'll say it's doing better than all right. This winter, we've had a low in this part of the garden of around -7, but only for one period. Other than a few early frosts and that one cold spell, the winter overall has been quite damp, so I'm actually pretty lucky that this has stayed as green as it is. Borinda papyrifera isn't the toughest of the bamboos when it comes to foliage, and it can brown a little bit prematurely. So the fact that it's green, definitely a good sign. Over here, one of my lovely Trachycarpus princeps new form hybrids. This one been in the ground for 5.5 years now, and it's looking just sensational. Big leaves, just a simply beautiful plant, and certainly one, if you've seen some of my recent videos, I'll be planting throughout my new garden project. Yeah, this part of the garden doesn't look great, but we all have a choice when it comes to our gardens. How much of it do we want to have looking good all the way through the year with evergreens like Fargesia, and how much do we really want to rely on for summer colour, big leaves and a more tropical vibe? So we all make our own choices, plant the plants we do, and accept the compromises as they come. Now, when it comes to this part of the garden here, yeah, things aren't looking so great. Pretty much all of the tree fern fronds are browned. And I did see a post, in fact, I've seen a couple of posts from those of you in the tree fern groups over on Facebook asking if yours should look like this. And the unfortunate reality is that one cold spell where temperatures dipped down to around -7, that was plenty enough to brown the fronds. They go from looking a dark green colour to real dark brown, to then actually fade into this russet light brown colour. It's unfortunate, but let's face it, we're now cracking on. Spring is very much on the horizon, and by May, we'll have some fresh new croziers coming through. You can see I've actually left mine wrapped this winter, but only the top part. So I basically started the winter by putting this fleece into the crowns, then just wrapped up the top foot ahead of that cold spell, where, to be honest with you, I pretty much left it. I haven't really had much of a choice. I've not been in the garden much. But in the next couple of weeks, if there doesn't look to be any real damaging cold on the horizon, I will take off most of this wrapping. But as you can see, most of the trunks are exposed and they've had loads of rain this winter, so no dramas there. In terms of care tips, pretty much the only thing at this time of the year, water them if it does turn dry, and I would really recommend leaving the old fronds on, at least until the new crosiers started to open up and take over them. Down here you'll see epimedium, one I spoke about in my new plant video. I'll be planting plenty more different varieties of epimedium throughout the garden. Such a reliable, basic, but beautiful ground cover, and it ties in so well with a lot of these lush jungle plants. At the back there, you'll see one of my best Scheffleras, Schefflera rhododendrofolia. Look at this one now, it's getting big. It's taller than me, I'd say it's pushing 7 foot now, a nice trunk on it. It really is great to see. Not without its damage, you can see that second stem, that's died back a little bit, but this main growth here now is really pushing up. Now, this part of the garden in particular is a place I need to get a little bit more room this spring. The main plant which is in the way is this Borinda lushuiensis, which is, I think, one of the most jaw-dropping, amazing clumping bamboos you can grow here in the UK. Apparently, at one time, it was thought to be quite tender, only able to survive in gardens of Cornwall, sheltered woodland valley-style gardens, but it's actually proven to be tough and hardy for a lot of us up north. Yes, in a cold winter, where you have temperatures around, we'll say -6 to -8, for a prolonged period, it does brown. But this winter, as we only had really a couple of days of that deep cold, well, I say deep cold, a couple of days of around -6, -7, it's not done so bad. It's mostly green. Yes, it does tend to lose some of the new growth, so you can probably see in here where they didn't harden off properly, those will just be snapped off. Maybe do it with some secateurs, a bit of professionalism. But what I've actually thought is that this bamboo here, it really needs a proper home. If you've seen this down in Treba Garden, I think it's Treba that's got the exceptional specimen, you know it is a stunning bamboo. It can get twice as tall as this one being around 3.5 to 4 meters. I think this bamboo can get to a solid 6-7 meters plus. And it's a clumper, but it's a massive, majestic clumper. Lots of canes very closely. It creates a beautiful fountain of this bluey grey glaucous colour. Absolutely stunning. So I want to give it more space. And now we've got the new garden extension, which most of my videos will be made up of this spring. This bamboo will be getting moved out there. However, I'll be taking the opportunity to divide it, because I know someone who might go by the name of Shane Bilson that might appreciate a bit of this bamboo. Well, I say appreciate, it might be a little bit of a swap. I'll let you, regular viewers, try to guess which bamboo of Shane's I might be swapping for this one. We've got there another ladybird crawling its way up. So it really is great to see everything now just starting to come alive. My passion and enthusiasm for spring this year tempered slightly by how much I've got to do. But anyway, they're all exciting jobs, all jobs that I've dreamed of over winter. So there's absolutely no overwhelm here. It's just a case of taking on one thing at a time and enjoying the process as best I can. Up there, another one of those hybrids, looking just beautiful. But I won't dwell on that, you've seen enough of that. Now, this part of the garden, there will be a couple more changes. So the first thing, although I'm taking out that lushuiensis there to give more room for the Schefflera, the tree fern there, I may in fact end up putting this Borinda papyrifera in its place. I've sort of realised that this part of the garden here is just too cluttered. This area has had several evolutions over the years, some down to my mistakes and some down to the weather. This is where the Phoenix canariensis was. But do you know what? I'm actually quite happy seeing more of that brown wall behind. I can maybe go back to having a climber going up the wall. I just think that bamboo, when it comes over this way, it's a little bit too much green, if I can say such a thing. So I'm thinking taking that bamboo out, and that one may go there. I've actually got another spare Borinda papyrifera, a little bit of a brag there. That might go in its place instead. But basically, I want a bamboo there that I can keep a relatively sensible size. I know Borinda papyrifera do tend to lean over a bit. And you can see here, I've used the old green paracord. Definitely recommended for keeping your bamboo upright. But that lushuiensis, it deserves a bigger spot. It deserves somewhere where you can really take in that size, that scale. And I think I've got just the place for it. So definitely stay tuned for the videos coming up to see more about that. But yeah, going back to this border here, that Borinda can come out, a few more sensible plants around, and hopefully just have a little bit more light, a little bit more air in this area here, and it will nicely show off those palms I've got in front of it. This area has been pretty much left since you last saw it at the back end of the year. That and Seti, which are left in situ with absolutely no optimism of its survival. I pretty much hacked it back. Yeah, that's definitely not going to come back now, is it? So that I'll just basically mash it into the ground, and then it's time to get some new summer planting here. Of course, most of the planting in the back area here actually comes in summer from the Begonia grandis, a lot of those hardy ground covers which pop up, we'll say around late springtime. Never the earliest to pop up, so there's no rush there. But you can see in the middle, the Persicaria red dragon, they're racing away, as they always tend to do. So what I'll probably do over the next few weeks is just start the spring clean. Not throwing anything out, of course, but a little gentle chop back of some of these Persicarias, things like that, and get it to the garden just looking a bit more presentable over the next month or so. I say that, but will it happen? Who knows? This Fatsia japonica, spider's web, yeah, it's still bouncing back. So one of you actually pointed out the new growth looks a bit green. Should I remove that to help really encourage the variegation? To be honest with you, I think the main reason it's sending out the fully green growth is because the whole plant got defoliated and it very quickly needs to bring some energy in. So I'm just leaving it alone. It can do its thing. I'm not too worried about it. It'll come back, I'm sure. The Trachycarpus Nova then, it's looking fantastic. And as that robin sings in the background there, you can see this palm now, it's getting some height on it. Yes, some of the older leaves look bedraggled, but I think the important thing with palms is not to take off too many of the older leaves. Wait until they're at least mostly brown before you chop them off, because you've got to remember, although they look a little bit tatty and untidy, wherever there's green, this is making energy for the plant. One thing that I do often hear a lot of people mention or comment is that if you chop off the lower leaves, it really stimulates the plant to grow taller and taller and taller. And there may be some truth to that, but there's also a lot of truth to the plant having as much green as possible to grow as much as it possibly can. So it's one of those counterintuitive things. You will hear people say it both ways. I don't exactly know. I've not done a scientific experiment, but as a general rule, a lot of these exotics, which do grow relatively slowly in our climate, if you can leave green leaves on for as long as possible, the plant will get more energy and it will grow healthier and possibly faster as well. We'll leave it at that. Here then, the Gunnera still under their winter protection, but I suspect now, as many of yours are, they are actually growing away. I tend to leave the old leaves over them for as long as I possibly can. Leave them covered over, leave them sheltered, because once they start growing away, I mean, they'll push their own way out, won't they? But once they start growing away, there's no stopping them, and they can soon be very hard to protect from late frost. But always great to see the Gunnera, one of the first giant exotics to really get kicking into action. I just love it. Around March time for me is when it happens, at any time now. That old dead tree fern trunk at the back there, I think I might actually take that out of here and up to the far end of the garden, what will be the new woodland area, where it can help form part of the dead hedge and lots of other plants can grow on it. That's the plan for that, just to take it out of here and tidy this area up. You can see my recovering tree fern, which I covered over with a fleece bag, is still covered over with a fleece bag, but it's actually currently dipped in a pond, so there's no problem with moisture there. It was a tree fern which was struggling before I got it, and I've had it for a few years where it's also struggled, so don't fancy its chances in all honesty. But the plants behind it, Fatsia's looking magnificent. That one there in particular, such a glossy, beautiful beast. The Borinda papyrifera, I might actually take the opportunity to take that one out as well, because I've got some more sensible spots to put these plants. And let's face it, a lot of my evergreen structure I did plant too closely together initially. My fault that. But now at a point where I've got room for these bamboos to go and really do the thing, these fascias will soon knit together and form a beautiful, glossy, evergreen backdrop to this section. So no problem there. Yes, you might have noticed some bags here. I've got a lot of mushroom compost. More on that very, very soon. But as you can probably guess, it's for the new garden project. But behind it, you'll see this border. Again, we've got a mixture of stories here. Successes, failures, and things that are just starting to come into life. The ferns, as always, the Dryopteris, they look beautiful. Yes, if you want an evergreen, lush, jungle-style garden, you've got to go for ferns, haven't you? And there's so many different sorts available. In the middle there, you'll see Fritillaria starting to push their way through. Yes, the old slugs and snails have certainly been taking a munch, but I don't tend to worry about them too much, really. Just leave them to it. Up behind it, though, that Tetrapanax, that is very much a stick still. So we'll see where it chooses to sprout from this year. And the Fatsia spider's web again, they're not looking great. These ones always look ropey at this time of the year. You can see some of the growing points have died back, some of the old leaves are browned. But what I just tend to do is wait until late springtime, chop off any dead and damaged leaves and just leave them to it. And they soon just bush out again, send out some new growth. So nothing to really worry about there. Here we've got one of my favourite spring bulbs, the variegated Fritillaria imperialis. Absolutely beautiful things. Yes, they have that scent, but I love these ones for the foliage, the flowers, everything about them. So there will be some more of these going into the new garden project, but I suspect that'll be a planting later this year. Certainly nothing coming up anytime soon. Euphorbia, it's still alive, isn't it? The Frampton fatty there, possibly in the wrong spot. So again, as the weather warms up a little bit, I'll be taking some cuttings, just like a John Phillips, I'll show you in a second, to help propagate it basically and move it into a new garden space. The big Eucalyptus glaucescens, yeah, it's reaching for the sky, which is actually brightened up a little bit. Great to see. But yeah, that eucalyptus, no problem with that. It's certainly going to rocket away. See here the Fatsias. We've got there another spider's web. This one, I believe, is a Fatsia japonica moseri. You can see down there, Impatiens omiana. That's just popping through. The ferns again growing nicely. So yeah, it's great just to have a walk around the garden this time of the year, isn't it? Just see things that are just starting. It really helps give you that positive mindset that, you know, even when you don't do anything over winter, I mean, what's happened? Some of the plants look a bit rough. I couldn't have done anything about that anyway. There's a few weeds, but I think, to be honest with you, this time of year, the next month or two, is the most weeds I ever see in the jungle garden, because by late spring, early summer, there's a lot of big leaves in the way and there's hardly any room for the weeds to push their way through. One thing I didn't actually mention, I've just walked right past. You see, this is sleep deprivation at its finest. These Musa basjoos, the bananas here, the hardy Japanese fibre banana, are wrapped up. And they will be staying that way until, we'll say, late March. But I've got no doubt they'll start growing away as soon as I unwrap them. However, if I show you back up here, you will see one that I didn't wrap. Can you guess what happened? Well, for all of you on Facebook who say you don't need to wrap your Musa basjoo, I'm here to tell you, if you live in the colder parts of the country, you definitely do. That one cold spell of -7 was enough to turn the stems a little bit mushy, and of course, as soon as the weather got a little bit milder, it just nipped them off. So as you can see, flops right over. So will the plant survive? Yes. Is it going to be as impressive? No. Do I care? Not really, no. I actually didn't mind this one being a little bit lower, just to give it a balance to the palm above it. But anyway, just wanted to show you that for me at least, wrapping even these supposedly hardy banana plants is worth it to keep the height of the pseudo stems. Just wanted to point that out. You see all kinds of different flowers, bulbs and everything popping up. Originally, I did have the intention of slightly neater borders, but to be honest now, I do sort of let things do the thing. You can see down here a couple of my introductions at the back there. We've got Cyclamen hedrifolium, talked about that in a recent video. Lovely foliage, beautiful plant, and it's great at surviving in areas with intense root competition. So it does great under the tree ferns. The Alcuba there, beautiful, lovely, splashed variegated foliage. But the main reason I planted there, tough as old boots, a nice bit of greenery in the bag. So yeah, just to show you that although this green structure is a monstrosity to look at over winter, I don't generally come out here and look at it, and it serves a purpose, which is definitely worthwhile. Now, over here, we've got a lot of the snowdrops. These, some of the introductions I planted a few years ago, just the common Galanthus nivalis form. Absolutely nothing special about them, but at the same time, there's something special about every snowdrop, isn't there? However, you can see now, these have got to a good clump size. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll be digging these up and dividing them, splitting them up in the green and moving them to some of the new garden projects where I've actually already planted my first plants, which is some snowdrops in the green. I just want to get as many down there as possible because I think they look beautiful. And again, a plant which really does its thing at a time of year when we absolutely need it. Persicaria's coming back. One thing I will be doing with this area is basically topping up the soil level, because last year I built this cobble wall. You can probably see there's a good 6 inches or so, maybe about 180 mil of soil level that I can bring up. And at some point, I don't want to commit to a time here, but at some point I will be skimming and taking off maybe the top 4 or 5 inches of this whole jungle clearing area. Yes, I do want to put Crusher down to have a solid, stable path running through, which I've currently got up to around this point here. So I just want to extend that and put some of that soil into here, and some of it, again, will be barrowed into the new garden project. So for those of you who want to see a project fully finished and complete, my videos this year will once again possibly be a little frustrating. But personally, I know the plan that I'm working towards, it'll get there in time. And there's some jobs which you just have to face it, you've got to do in stages. Obviously, if I was a single man with a lot of time in my hands, the garden would be an entirely different place by now. But you got to see the positives, haven't you? And I'm sure the girls will absolutely love some of the plans that we've got coming up this year, which is the main thing, isn't it? You see there, the Gunnera just poking through. I do love really introducing a lot of, we'll say, more normal perennials, ground covers and other plants into the garden. My first thought when I moved in was that every single plant should be an exotic rarity, but I've sort of mellowed in that a little bit because I do enjoy seeing plants at different times of the year. I don't want a garden that only really kicks off in June or that looks quite static all the year round. So just introducing a mixture of perennials. Again, it's something when the weather's grey, cold, grim, and a lot of the other plants are a long way off growing. It's great just to see a bit of life, a bit of energy, and know that you don't have to do anything to look after them, isn't it? Fantastic. And you can possibly see down these sides here, more Narcissus actaea. I actually bought those for the new garden project. There was a point in September time when it looked like it was going to come together, and then it took, well, another couple of months. So I might have panicked a little bit and really wanted to get them in the ground. I'd already had the bulbs for a couple of months by that point. So yes, they've been planted down the edges here, but I do love Narcissus actaea. Again, one of my favorite spring bulbs, beautiful scent to it. And they just come up at the right time of the year. April time when optimism is high and we can really start looking ahead. Look on there, look, even more ladybirds on top of that culm from last year. I suspect that one probably won't come to anything, but still great that it's a home to so many beneficial insects. Now in this area, there is a bamboo that's going to have to come out, which is this one here, my Q Beauty. I said last year, I think it was late summer, early autumn time, it was flowering, and you can see now the whole plant has gone quite brown. So unfortunately, there's nothing more to come from it. Yes, I could take the seed and grow it, but this plant here, this plant's going to die. I'm confident of that. So I am going to dig it out. So this is maybe another spot where one of those moved Borinda papyriferas can go to. I think I've got the room for it. Yes, I do want some of these blues to size up, but I think I've got enough room for those to sort of go around there. The Fargesia, Robusta Campbell, those can come out quite nicely. It's a good few years growth. So yeah, replace this one with something else to complete the bamboo tunnel. So yes, a little bit of work tidying up, and this part of the garden, after that little bamboo swap, will come together quite nicely. Those Narcissus actaea bringing the spring colour. We've got all kinds of different perennials in there, some beautiful big leaves, and then the ferns I got from Shane. So I'm excited to see it come together, and these bamboo hopefully start to knit together at the top and really create that tunnel effect. But what have I got here? Oh, we've got a lot more mushroom compost. I say mushroom compost, this is actually more like farmyard manure. Possibly shouldn't have put it right on top of my new patio, so it's certainly going to be greened if nothing else. But, you know, I had to do it. It was the only day I could really get it in. And moving 120 bags up the garden in one morning and still filming a couple of videos in the afternoon, that was a full day, wasn't it? Certainly. But it's here, it's ready to go. I'm excited to see that. Oh, there we go. I should say I'm excited to see this manure actually down and the new plants grow. In itself, manure doesn't excite me in the slightest, but you know what I mean. It's all about the promise, isn't it? You can see here this bee having a drink. Great to see it. And over here, something else which has actually caught my eye. Look, that Trachycarpus, this one I moved. Unfortunately, I bought this Trachycarpus as a premium Trachycarpus, a beautiful little thing at our old house. Planted it and it grew so well for a couple of years, and then I had to dig it up, and this one's never settled down very well. It's never got its roots in really properly. You can just tell from the amount of growth it's been woefully slow, but it's getting there now. I suspect with a bit more moisture, this year could be its year. So again, that old rule that not every plant's the same. You might get some ropey ones, some that do well straight away, but as always, a bit of patience and plants usually come good. You can see the new leaf just opening up. It's a little bit yellow. That's perfectly normal. If your palms are doing that this time of year, it's just basically the plant trying to grow without sufficient warmth and light. So they do look a little bit yellow, but they will come good. And as soon as we get some sunny March, April days, you'll see your palms looking so much healthier. And that brings us to about here, where I did actually knock up some very, very basic rain shelters for my agaves at the back end of last year. And they've done the job. I'm surprised they're still standing. My boss had some of this old sheeting that he ripped out from a roof on an old project. So I just got some sections of that, put some little legs on it, made out some treated lat, screw in each corner, and job's a good one. As simple as that. So yes, they've done their job. They've kept the rain off the agaves. They look good. As in fact do the Jabea, the Trachycarpus, and a lot of these hardy palms in this section here. They're now really starting to get some size to them. You see the Pseudopanax at the back there. Bizarre, odd looking things, aren't they? But amazing. That plant definitely spurred to grow to the sunlight because of the amount of plants around it. But when it comes to the border as a whole, I am so pleased with how the palms are doing. Honestly, they're the main thing in this border here. Those Trachycarpus now, they're sturdy, ginormous beasts, ready to grow upright. Amazing. This Dasylirion here, I believe this one is longissimum, potentially. I'll have to double check that. It always looks a little ropey at the edges, but I suspect it's settling in. It's going to come good. Around it, we've got the fascicularia bromeliads. They look beautiful. No worries there whatsoever. And at the front, this is just very simply a Hylotelephium, or what most of you will probably know as sedum. You can see the old growth now, it's browned. That can be chopped right off, and the new growth is pushing straight through. Now with these plants, there's absolutely no hardiness worries. Yes, they just keep growing through anything. And now is the perfect time to divide them. So if you look at the main base there, you'll see a group of all these new shoots. You can divide these plants in January, February, March, April. It doesn't really matter when. Just get on, do it, hack them up. And by the end of the summer, pretty much no matter how small you get them, each plant will be a lovely clump. And in fact, you can see there, just on that low, we'll say dead branch, the lowest one, you can see how it's already started to shoot all along its length. Yes, this is one of the very first plants I ever learned to propagate. Anne, who used to look after me when I was very young, she introduced me to a lot of gardening, and I always remember her just shaking her head with the price at garden centres because she knew how easy plants like this were to propagate. So I think, looking back, it was probably her that taught me how to actually propagate, divide plants, and this, I remember, was one of the first. So easy to do. Dig it up, hack it up, plant it, job done. So yeah, a little bit of tidying up the frontier. Some of these, again, will be going to the new garden project where they bring wildlife value and beautiful magenta colouring around late summer, early autumn time. But now the sun comes out again. You can just feel the stress and tiredness just melting away. Beautiful Pinus patchel up there, my Mexican weeping pine. It's looking stunning. This Euphorbia, the John Phillips, again, evergreen stalwart in my garden, always looks exceptional. This winter, because we had quite a short duration of real cold, it still looked fantastic. I will be moving this one because as I extend this walkway through here, it's just simply too big for the place. I know that. So I'll be taking some of these cuttings probably over the next 6 weeks or so, basically taking any actual stems which aren't flowering, pop them in some soil in the polytunnel and growing those away so that I can take the rest of the plant out and have this plant still growing somewhere else in the garden. Up there, you'll see the hybrid strawberry tree, Arbutus androchnoides, a lovely thing. Unfortunately, most of the flowers got zapped in that cold spell, so there probably won't be any fruit on it yet. But this is a plant, if I'm honest, I grow it for the bark, firstly, the beautiful cinnamon rustic peeling bark, and then also the evergreen leaves. So now this plant really has a purpose, as it will form a beautiful winding Mediterranean style archway over this entrance into the new garden. And that brings us to here, where, let's face it, there's a lot of work to do, a lot of tidying to be done. We've got shelters, we've got weeds, we've got all the kind of mess that comes around this time of year. But the main thing for me is that a lot of the palms, they're looking green. Yes, there's some tidying to be done with those yuccas, removing the lower brown damaged growth. Again, that big Chemrops, Humilis, Vulcano over there, take out some of the lower brown leaves. But I don't mind doing it as soon as the daytime temperatures get warmer, as soon as we get a bit of sun. A lot of these palms look so much better. But the main thing is really that they're looking green and healthy. This big Djibouti here is done absolutely nothing for that this winter. -7 is simply not a problem and not something where I worry about protecting it. Over this side, you can possibly see one of my Princeps hybrids. These are waggy crossed with the Princeps, a little bit stiffer leaf. They've not done so great. So again, when you're planting small hybrid palms, it can be a bit of a gamble. If you live somewhere colder, grow them on until they've got a nice bit of trunk. But generally speaking, you know, they will come good eventually. Just put up with a few tatty leaves. So I tend to leave my tidying for palms, like I mentioned, till another month or so, but it'll all come good, won't it? And here we've got the rose border. As Max now comes out to join the sausage party, we've got a few roses which I did ponder moving into the new garden, but I'm not quite ready for them yet. I might juggle this area around, we'll see. But for now, all I've done is chop back, because the roses are now in their second, third year in the ground, chop back about half the growth. Yes, they're still budding away, looking fantastic and green, but I just want to keep them a little bit lower, have stronger growing plants. So it's time just to give them a little bit of a chop back, and then with a bit of weeding, this area will come together and be full of beautiful scent and colour in no time at all. And that is where I think I'll leave today's video. The sun's come out, it's now time for me to head inside and possibly help out with another feed, you know what it's like. But it's been a lovely little walk around with you. You've seen the garden now, it's its worst, but even at the depths of the end of a miserable, grey, wet winter, there's promise, isn't there? There's plenty of work to be done. There's plants to be moved, there's soil to be dug out, there's some new little display plants going in, but there's plenty of time to do it. And I think the important thing this time of year is, if your garden's looking a bit ropey, a little bit rough, seriously, don't worry about it. A little bit of sun makes all the difference for how you feel, how your plants look, and for the wildlife that enjoys it. So thank you very much for watching this little rambling walk around, a little catch up. Hopefully there'll be more exciting project videos coming up. I'm not entirely sure whether I'll to stick to a every Sunday schedule or how long the videos are going to be. But as always, I will try my best to share what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and all the fun, excitement, mistakes, and challenges along the way as always. So now, thank you very much for watching. Max, what are you doing? I've no idea, but it looks like it's up to no good. I will see you all very soon. See you later.